Would I really be a wrestling YouTuber if I didn't talk about the hottest thing in all of wrestling right now? I wouldn't, would I? And I want to be a wrestling YouTuber. I'm trying to be a wrestling YouTuber. I must talk about Bray. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Hugh McQuaid and today we are talking about Bray Wyatt and his return, and more specifically pitching his first feud in the big WWE. So first of all, if you haven't seen my Extreme Rules review, check it out on the channel right now. You'll hear my thoughts on Bray's entrance and how incredible it was and how excited I am to see Bray back in the fold with WWE. But we're looking forward now. We had a brief glimpse on Raw. Bray seems to be turning up on SmackDown this week. I want to think about who he's going to feud with. There's a lot of names. A lot of names we don't want him to feud with. Alexa Bliss needs to stay away from this. But yeah, there's a lot of people who could stoke the fires of Bray's return. So who do I think Bray needs to feud with, looking at the SmackDown roster? Because the thing with the SmackDown roster at the moment is a lot of people are taken. You've got all the bloodline stuff going on there. Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre, I don't think their feud is over. I think that's going to continue, so it can't be either of them. You've got Gunther potentially still tied up with Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes, so it won't be anything around that title scene. So really you've got to think about who is not being used at the moment and who needs a new story. My pitch for the first feud for Bray, coming out of an absolutely incredible debut, is to feud with Edge. Now, Edge could potentially still be tied up with Judgment Day stuff. I hope not, because I think that will lead more into a Rhea Ripley, Beth Phoenix feud at the Rumble and potentially a WrestleMania match. I think Edge is the one who needs this feud the most and who can help elevate Bray from, I don't want to say a mid-card act, but he's not going to be around any of the titles in my version. So he needs to be fusing with guys who are high up on the card, and Edge just had the co-main event of a pay-per-view. So it's got to be Edge. Now, why do I think it should be Edge? There is so much of Edge's history in WWE that can be played on throughout this feud. You've got the entire Matt Hardy and Lita stuff. You've got the ultimate opportunist Edge who would, do anything it takes to get the world title. You've got the Vicky Guerrero marriage. You've got his relationship with Christian. You've got the Hardy Boys stuff. There's so much of Edge's chronology in WWE that can be used against him via Bray. And that's why we loved the Firefly Funhouse match so much, is because it played on those tropes of John Cena that we hated as fans, or those tropes that, needed rectifying, like Bray's loss to Cena at WrestleMania. So I think Bray doing that in a way that could further a feud, because if it was done correctly, Randy Orton versus The Fiend would have been an incredible feud. They have so much history together, and it was not capitalised on in the slightest during The Fiend's feud with Orton. It was terrible. It was garbage. With a better creative direction, I think Bray could really tell something quite poignant with Edge, particularly with Edge as the hero and Bray as the bad guy. Now, admittedly, Bray is going to get cheered in this, no matter what he does. He could Sister Abigail Beth Phoenix 12 times into some steel steps and he would get cheered. That's just the way it works, because he is the hottest thing in wrestling right now. But I'd want to see this play out quite slowly. Maybe eventually build to Edge versus Bray at Mania. Maybe that being Bray's first match. And it's just like the White Rabbit teases, breadcrumbs. Edge is in a segment, White Rabbit over him. Next week, it gets more involved. You see things in the background. Maybe you see the puppets. Maybe you see the humanoid versions of the puppets teasing that Wyatt 6 that's potentially coming. And then that leads to, say, a Royal Rumble which Edge is in, Edge takes part in the Rumble, and then lights go out, and the Wyatt Six come and just wreck Edge in the Rumble, eliminate him, beat him out at ringside, take him out for a few months. And Bray can relish this. Think on your sins. Who killed the world? Edge did. And just use that as a phrase going forward. What that actually means, I don't know. Because we've only seen one spooky promo from the man, so he could relate it to anything. Who killed the world? It could be, I don't know, who killed SmackDown in 2009. I don't know. It could be anything. But just having that focused on Edge, and Edge is really good at getting riled up. And we all know he's going to have a spooky brood entrance in this feud as well that we're just going to have to deal with. We're going to have to deal with it. Let's put it to one side. If this feud happens, Edge will do a spooky brood entrance. That's what he wants to do. He'll probably even do it at the match at Mania. And the match at Mania could be, just a one-off appearance for Bray. Because the thing with the Bray character is it doesn't work particularly well in ring. The issue with The Fiend was he was a slasher villain. He was a Jason Voorhees, a Michael Myers type that had to get beat. That doesn't work, because slasher villains, I'm watching Halloween at the moment. Michael Myers, he'll get shot, or he'll get pushed out a window, or he'll get caught in a fucking basement that's on fire. He still comes back. The Fiend, he came back, but it was so devastating, the losses that he had, that the sort of horror movie element after didn't work. So maybe if they can tap into a more human element for Bray this time, can make him more fallible and less like the slasher villain that admittedly we all loved. We all loved The Fiend. Absolutely adored The Fiend. So I think this should lead to Edge versus Bray at Mania. I think that is a big money match, especially if it's Bray's first match. The only other thing I could see in this is maybe Bray being in the Rumble and taking out Edge himself and then eliminating himself from the Rumble just to beat down Edge. I'd like to see that, because this version of Bray, I think we need to learn from the mistakes, should not be near the title picture at all. Instead, Bray should be his own character with his own motivations that are not related to winning the Universal or WWE Championship. That was where The Fiend went wrong. So there we have it. I haven't really laid out full groundwork on how I think the story will play out, but Edge is the guy. Edge is the guy to put over this new version of Bray. And I think having a long-term story from now, from maybe Crown Jewel to Mania, Edge should be the person that Bray focuses on, and that's where the feud should be. And I think in that we can tell a larger story, developing the world that Bray has created with The Fiend, with the puppets, expanding the Wyatt Six, and Edge is the perfect guy to put that over. I think he's, doing some of the best work of his career at the moment, so I'd be thrilled to see that. But I want to know what you guys think about this feud. Who do you think Bray should feud with first? Do you think he should squash jobbers? Do you think he should go after Drew? Do you think he should go after Roman? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.